Greetings, fellow classic TV fans. Do you remember the name of the Jetsons' first dog? It was Electronimo, which Elroy confused as a vacuum. Then came the real deal, Astro, whose original owner actually named him Trowfaz. Trowfaz? He was voiced by the great Don Messick. Don also did the voices of Scooby-Doo, Bam Bam Rubble, Muttley, Boo Boo Bear, and Ranger Smith. Boo Boo Bear. Although Don wasn't Mel Blanc, his legacy as a voice actor for some of our favorite cartoons lives on. Greetings, fellow classic TV fans. Have you ever heard of the voice actor Paul Frees? Well, if you haven't heard of him, you most likely have heard him. With literally hundreds of voice acting credits, Paul was known in the business as the man of 1,000 voices. Boris Badenoff from the Rocky and Bullwinkle Show was just one of his many memorable characters. He would sometimes appear in live-action films as either a radio or TV host. How can that be hard to say? You'll hear Paul's voice on many of the Rankin and Bass holiday specials, as well as many Hanna-Barbera cartoons. And to this very day, millions of people have heard his most famed voiceovers, where? At Disneyland. Paul is the voice of the ghost host at the Haunted Mansion. He's also the talking head on the Pirates of the Caribbean ride that says, "Dead men tell no tales." Paul left us with a truly remarkable body of work. Greetings, fellow classic TV fans. Some of my favorite childhood cartoons had a few things in common. For instance, the vocal talents of Daws Butler. He developed his skills early on as an impressionist, which would later come in handy. Butler's first big contribution was that of the Emmy Award-winning Huckleberry Hound. Also in the Huckleberry offshoots, he voiced Mr. Jinx from Pixie and Dixie, who seemed very much like Marlon Brando. Daws' iconic Yogi Bear was believably an impression of Art Carney's Ed Norton. Butler's Snagglepuss character and the Wizard of Oz Cowardly Lion seemed quite similar too. Daws stated himself that Wally Gator mirrored comedian Ed Wynn, and Hokey Wolf was very much like Phil Silvers. But it wasn't all imitations for Daws, as he was also the original voices for both Quick Draw McGraw and his sidekick Baba Louie. He also did the iconic voices of Elroy Jetson, Captain Crunch, and most of the characters from Wacky Races. The Emmy Award-winning Nancy Cartwright credits Daws Butler as her mentor, saying of him he was always amazing, always encouraging, and always polite. And that's some pretty high praise from the likes of Bart Simpson. Greetings, fellow classic TV fans. You know the wonderful thing about Tiggers is Tiggers are wonderful things, as is the immense talent of the legendary voice actor Jim Cummings. Simply name a blockbuster animated film, and it's most likely Jim had a part in it. Having logged hundreds of roles and still counting, Warner Brothers, DreamWorks, Nickelodeon, and more have all capitalized on Jim's incredibly diverse voice acting skills. He began his career on television in 1985 with the company that his work is most likely known for, playing Lionel on the Disney Channel program Dumbo's Circus. Further establishing his relationship with Disney, in 1988, Cummings replaced Hal Smith, aka Otis Campbell from Andy Griffith, to become the voice of Winnie the Pooh. By the year 2000, with the release of the Tigger movie, Jim had also replaced Paul Winchell as the voice of Tigger. In 1991, Cummings took on yet another Disney role as one of his personal favorites, Darkwing Duck. He earned 5 Daytime Emmy nominations and took home an Annie Award for his performance. Jim also earned Emmy nods for his roles in Star Wars The Clone Wars and My Friends Tigger and Pooh. In 2018, he reprised these two beloved characters on the big screen in Christopher Robin. Cummings was hailed by the chief film critic of Vanity Fair, who called his Winnie the Pooh performance Oscar-worthy. The fact is, if it's a popular animated feature for the big screen, the small screen, video games, or any other sort of multimedia you can think of, you'll likely find his name in the credits. And in 2020, I had the distinct honor to help induct the deserving Jim Cummings at the Voiceover Actors Hall of Fame induction ceremony. Greetings, fellow classic TV fans. June Foray's renowned vocal skills were so impressive that Warner Brothers legend Chuck Jones compared her equally to that of the great Mel Blanc. Beginning on the radio in the late 1940s and well into the 50s, she was a familiar voice on many of the classic serials. Also in the 50s, June made a mark with Walt Disney in his masterpieces Cinderella and Peter Pan. Her work with Warner Brothers began as a replacement for the voice of Tweety Bird's Granny and the character Witch Hazel. But perhaps Foray's most recognizable role came in the early 1960s as Bullwinkle's trusty sidekick, Rocky the Flying Squirrel. She also voiced Boris Badenoff's partner, Natasha Faye Towle, and as part of the same show, she played Dudley Do-Right's love interest and damsel in distress, Nell Fenwick. June's versatility also gave a voice to a Mattel toy doll called Chatty Cathy. Reportedly, this paved the way for her to play the role of the dreaded Talkie Tina opposite Telly Savalas in the episode of The Twilight Zone titled Living Doll. In 1968 and 69, she immortalized her voice yet again as Cindy Lou Who and Karen in the holiday Christmas specials How the Grinch Stole Christmas and Frosty the Snowman. As a member of ASIFA Hollywood, in 1972, June Foray founded the Annie Awards, honoring all the various roles involved with animated productions. In the year 2000, she reprised her role of Rocket J. Squirrel in the feature film adaptations of The Adventures of Rocky and Bullwinkle. Continuing her voice acting well into her 90s, the world of entertainment bore witness to what was nearly a century of amazing contributions by this actress. In 2020, I had the great honor to posthumously induct the great June Foray in the very first annual Voiceover Actors Hall of Fame ceremony. Greetings, fellow classic TV fans. In October of 2020, I had the distinct honor of inducting the great Pat Carroll into the Voiceover Actors Hall of Fame, which is housed at the historic Orinda Theater in Northern California. During her esteemed career, Pat has acted in multiple series on all three of the major TV networks. This includes CBS's The Danny Thomas Show, ABC's Laverne and Shirley, and NBC's ER. Just to name a few. In 1956, she won her first Emmy working alongside the comedic genius Sid Caesar. And over the years, the multi-talented actress also appeared on the classic variety shows of Red Buttons, Danny Kaye, Jimmy Durante, and Carol Burnett. While co-starring with a young Leslie Ann Warren and Stuart Damon in the 1965 live TV version of Cinderella, Pat briefly met Walt Disney. Little did the two know that a couple decades later, she would supply the voice of one of his most popular villains ever. Throughout the 80s, Pat appeared regularly on game shows while supplying her voice acting talent to many animated productions. In 1985, Carroll made her ultimate mark in the world of animation by voicing the sea witch Ursula for the Disney classic The Little Mermaid, which she claims is her all-time favorite role. In 2002, Pat reprised Ursula for the popular game series Kingdom Hearts, which has shipped over 32 million copies worldwide. It's listed in the top 10 best-selling PlayStation 2 games ever and is ranked as one of the greatest video games of all time by various gaming publications. Pat Carroll has created an enduring legacy in feature films, live and taped TV, Broadway plays, classic cartoon animation, and now video games. She is immortalized by recognition from the Emmys, the Golden Globes, the Tony Awards, the Grammys, and now, of course, the Voiceover Actors Hall of Fame. Greetings, fellow classic TV fans. In October of 2020, I had the honor of inducting the great Mel Blanc into the Voiceover Actor Hall of Fame, which is housed at the historic Orinda Theater in Northern California. The well-deserved honor went to this fine actor who for the better part of 2 decades verbally animated many of the beloved characters for the Warner Brothers Merry Melodies and Looney Tunes. Well before being adapted to television, the animated shorts first appeared in movie houses during the 1930s and 40s. As such, you may be surprised that a handful of the specific episodes actually won Academy Awards, and it just so happens that every one of the main characters were voiced by Mel. Introduced in 1945, Pepe Le Pew starred in the 1949 Oscar-winning cartoon titled For Sentimental Reasons. They would often title Pepe's cartoons with verbal twists, which pertained to his odorific persona. Tweety Bird was introduced in 1941, along with his nemesis Sylvester the Cat, who had made his debut in 1939. They co-starred in 2 more Academy Award-winning pieces, specifically Tweety Pie in 1947 and 1957's Birds Anonymous. Speedy Gonzales was the title of the 1955 winner. It not only introduced the new classic character, but also co-starred Sylvester. This meant that cartoons featuring Sylvester the Cat won the most Oscar statues of all. In 1958, a short titled Nighty Night Bugs, Bugs Bunny that is, won yet another Oscar. And speaking of bugs, according to the Guinness Book of World Records, since his initial appearance in 1940, that wascally wabbit has been in more films than any and all other cartoon characters, including Mickey Mouse. In part due to the late great Mel Blanc, Bugs Bunny even has his very own star on the Hollywood Walk of Fame.